Hello everybody, it's me Vampireleniore, and today in the spirit of Halloween, I suppose, or just the month of October in general, I'm going to make a video for you guys about night terrors that I've had throughout my life. Or you could call them ghost stories too. I don't really care either way. But at the end of the day, this video is about things that I've seen throughout my life that I call night terrors. So, beginning, I suppose I'll start with the first time I ever had a night terror, and it was when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and at the time I shared a room with 3 people, all 3 of my sisters, and we collected My Little Pony figurines as kids and had them all over our dresser. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw them moving around. They were just like, I don't know, moving around like horses would, I guess. Like trotting around and looking over at me and moving toward me. So I just like put the blankets over my head and tried to go back to sleep. But yeah, that was my first time, and my sisters told me that they saw it too. I don't know if they were messing with me and trying to scare me or what, but I figured I'd throw that part in. And then, let me see, where should I start now? When I was in junior high or high school, I had just walked into my room, and this one might have been real, like a real person. But if they were a real person, they were a scary looking real person, because I was not even tired. I had just walked into my room, and we had a bunk bed. We had 2 bunk beds in our room. That's how 4 of us shared like a relatively, not like a small room, but not a big room either, kind of just like a medium-sized room. But yeah, you can't fit 4 beds in a medium-sized room, so we had 2 bunk beds, and I slept on the bottom bunk of the bunk bed that I shared with my little sister. And as soon as I laid down, all of a sudden the bed started shaking really violently, and I looked up and there was a man like hanging from the top bunk, like he was holding on with his arms and his legs and like shaking the bed, and he had like a really, really, really pale face and just looked, and I know this might not make sense because I'm goth and I love pale makeup and stuff like that, but he didn't look human to me, and I don't know how to describe like how he didn't look human. You would just have to see for yourself, I suppose. But he had like really, really dark like black eyes, and his skin was very, very, very pale. And he was just like shaking the bed violently, and I screamed for my dad, and my dad went and got his gun, and I ran out of the room. And the window was open with no screen, so this could have been a real person, and they could have just like hopped out the window before we got back into the room. But yes, that one might not have been a night terror. It might have been an actual person, but if it was an actual person, they were scary looking, and I don't know what they were trying to do, like what would have happened to me if it wasn't for my huge dad with a gun. Yeah, my dad is really tall. He's pushing 7 feet tall, so a lot of people like would be intimidated, probably breaking into somebody's house that's armed and almost 7 feet tall. So the next one I'll get to was around the same period as the last one. I was just kind of laying in bed one night, and I looked over and I saw a woman crawling toward me, and she had just, this is something that I've noticed a lot in a lot of my night terrors, is that there's often like a lot of darkness surrounding the eyes, and their skin is very, very like pale. They kind of have the look of like a dead person, I guess, and that's immediately what I thought when I saw her, is that she looked like a zombie. And it's like in my mind, I was like, this isn't real, but this is still extremely terrifying. And all of my sisters were in the room with me, so I tried to speak, and I just remember just like noises coming from my throat, but I couldn't speak because I was so scared. And I just remembered like someone telling me, if you ever have a night terror or anything, just shut your eyes for 10 seconds and it will go away. So she was crawling toward me, and then the moment that she touched me right here, and I felt it. But yeah, I felt her touch me right here. I just shut my eyes for 10 seconds and I opened them and she was gone. But yeah, she was blonde and had extremely pale skin and darkness around her eyes, and was just like crawling toward me like a ghost in a Japanese movie, like really freaky crawling. And yeah, I was extremely terrified. But with that one, I don't know. It was weird. I was scared, but I wasn't scared. I was so scared I couldn't speak, but I wasn't that scared. I don't know how to describe it. By comparison, maybe. You know, I've had other night terrors that I was much more terrified of, but okay, fast forward several years later, because I just didn't have any night terrors for the longest time, like over 10 years without a night terror. I moved back in with my mom temporarily after I left my ex, and I was sharing a room with my mom, but she was working graveyard, so a lot of the time I would be alone in the room. And since I've never really had my own room in my entire life, because I always shared my room with my sisters when I was a kid, and almost my entire adult life I lived with my ex, and now I live with my current boyfriend. I've only spent like maybe 6 months of my life with my own room, and I think that maybe that has something to do with the fact that I started having night terrors again, because I'm just not used to being alone at night. But I looked up and the light was on, which is weird because the light is almost never on when I see my night terrors. But I remember looking up and there was a woman standing in front of the bed, as usual, very pale with darkness surrounding her eyes, wearing a long gray gown, had like messy, long gray hair, and she was just looking very intently at me as I was laying there. And yeah, I freaked out and left the room, naturally. But yes, and then the very last time that I ever had a night terror was just 3 years ago, and this night was rather crazy. I had just moved in here. This is a very old house, and it makes a lot of strange noises at night, but at the time I wasn't as familiar with the noises that it makes at night. And my boyfriend was in LA with his friends seeing Iron Maiden, and they had like, you know, planned this out like a year in advance. But I was like sitting on the couch, you know, kind of just like on the computer watching videos and stuff like that. And I stayed up really late because I knew, I was like, every time I'm alone at night, I have night terrors. My imagination, like I have a really crazy imagination, and I knew it was going to run wild since I was alone in a house by myself. I mean, there's something more creepy about being in a house by yourself than a room by yourself. I don't know. But I finally tried to go to sleep, and I just heard like talking, footsteps, and somebody turning on the water in the bathroom. And I actually almost called the police because I was like, maybe somebody's broken in and they're, you know, they're doing things throughout the house, and maybe I'm gonna get attacked, you know, like I was thinking this is a real person here probably. And then I came out here and I investigated, and no one was here. But yeah, I heard them turn on the water. I heard them like walking up and down the hallway through the house, lots of creaking. And yeah, pretty freaky. And even I got up and came out here, sat down on the couch I'm like, I'll just stay up all night if I have to, because I really hate having night terrors and having nightmares and stuff like that. For a skeptic, I'm kind of a chicken, I guess you'd say. But I came out here and sat down and started watching things on the computer again, and I still heard the noises of somebody turning on the water and walking through the house and stuff like that. And that's pretty much how it was all night. So yes, I'm glad it hasn't happened in a while, but that is my adventures with night terrors, and you can call it scary stories if you want, or ghost stories, or anything you'd like. But yes, not very fun to have night terrors. If you don't have them yourself, like, congratulations. But yeah, I have a very vivid imagination, and it likes to play games with me when I'm alone. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's probably really short, and I don't know if I'm the best storyteller ever, but there we go. And if you guys would like, I'll also make one about nightmares that I've had. There's been some crazy ones. Anyways, happy October to you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and you guys have a great day.